Parashat Ekev. The parasha starts with the words Vehaya Ekev Tishmeun. It is a tradition for us. We received that Masorah from Chazal that when the Torah says Vehaya, it is a lashon of simcha. It refers to joy or happiness. On the other hand, Vayehi is lashon tsar, sadness, agony. If you look at the words of Vahaya, it's the same letters of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yud Kei Vav Kei. And that name of the Tetragrammaton, right, refers to the Midah of Rachamim, refers to the attribute of mercy and kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the source of all good and the source of joy. Vehaya also is the first letters of the pasuk Yismechu Hashamayim V'tagil Haaretz. Psalms
108.
119.
They all fell.
I'm 119. No, West.
127.
Okay, I think you should quit when you're early.
46.
96. Verse
12.
13.
11. Says the Admor from Rojin, Im shachoach tishkach. Right? If you're going to forget et haya, I know et simcha. If you're going to forget the essence of joy, v'tiyeh sharui be'atzvut, and you're going to be in darkness, in agony, in depression. Bri chi shachoach tishkach et Hashem Elokecha. You have to be very careful because that means that you forgot God. And shachoach tishkach et Hashem Elokecha, as the parasha brings us. In other words, sadness will bring you to abandon God. Very hard to love God when you're depressed and when you're down. Chazal explained to us when is a person in joy, when is a person in happiness, when he knows that he's doing action and those actions have results. There is a purpose. Then you can be happy. Every, let's say, worker that works for the boss, he works for the purpose. And what's the purpose? Payment. He wants to get rewarded. He wants to get a payment. Because if it wasn't for that, guess what? He would never go to work. I remember one time when I was young, I had a guy that I knew. He came from Romania when Romania was communist. And I was fascinated to hear from him how life in a communist country is. Let me tell you something. Thank God we're capitalist. He said, you go to the factory, nobody is working. Everything is broken. Everybody is drunk. And I said to him, how about the manager? He doesn't get angry. He was laughing to me. He said he was more drunk than everybody else. We were producing nothing. Of course, getting paid nothing also. If you don't get paid, it's impossible to go to work. So now, in our generation, we see many people which unfortunately reach a total state of confusion. Or maybe we should call it, this is the age of confusion. And
The age of Aquarius?
yeah. And one of the reasons is because there's so many opportunities, so many possibilities to do things. We can't make up our mind. We can't find a purpose in anything, and that the results are very bleak, are very grim. It's terrible. There's no results. Look at what happened, by the way, Rabotai, worldwide since COVID. Since there was the shutdown, the global shutdown in COVID, one of the things is nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to work. Everybody wants to get paid. Nobody wants to work. Even the chain of supply is not the same as it was pre-COVID. Because during COVID, sitting at home, there was no purpose. There was no purpose, and people got depressed. And as a result of that, of course, all the other incentives became legal, like pot and all this stuff. Why? To keep the people numb. So legalize that stuff. Everybody will be stoned. And in any case, all we care about is for them to put a vote for us, and then we are good to go. But globally, it's a very bad thing. I mean, worldwide. So, since people cannot find purpose, and the results are very grim, people reach a stage of depression, of yeush, which is giving up, and the worst is a state of fear. We are petrified out of everything. We are afraid if this one is going to get elected, and we are afraid if that one is going to get elected. Everything is run out of fear. Our whole life ride on a cycle of fear.
Everybody's self-projecting.
I don't know, nobody's projecting anything. We are looking for external stimuli that are so extreme that you can't even imagine. What people do today, you couldn't imagine it 10 years ago. I'm not talking about 20 years ago. 10 years ago, what people are doing today, just to feel alive. People don't feel alive, so they're doing all these wacky, crazy things just to stay alive. So you see from here how important it is to be connected to the purpose, to have a goal in life. Everybody tells you, to do this and to do this and to do that. But nobody teaches you how to set goals in life and how to actually achieve them. When was the last time somebody, besides if you come over here, of course, how many times people come and tell you, listen, you have to achieve goals, and that's what it is. All it is, okay, you graduate out of this, out. Graduate out of that, out. Make a lot of money, that's not a goal. Making a lot of money is not a goal.
Why?
Why? It's very simple, because you're never going to make enough money to say, okay, I reached my goal. And to live life without able to reach something, it's kind of stupid. I mean, it's like you're like a hamster running around like this. It's never going to be enough. So it says in Navi, it says in the prophet about redemption, right? Ki besimcha tetzeu uveshalom tuvelun. You're going to do the exodus with joy, and with harmony you're going to be led to the land. He'arim ve'agevaot ifzechu lefnechem rinna. Mountains and canyons are going to tremble in joy. V'chol etzei hasadeh yimcheu kaf. And all the trees are going. In other words, it's not the trees are going to clap hands, because trees don't have hands, but the whole creation is going to rejoice on that. That is, by the way, in the book of
Yeshiva.
Very good. Which chapter?
36.
No.
23.
61.
No. Nun Hey.
55.
Nun Hey.
Oh, 55.
55. Verse
12.
Wow. 12. Yes. You see. You know why you both got it? Because you both mechaven for the same thing. You see the power of unity. With the help of joy, Rabotai, you go out from all your tzarot, all your worries, all your hardship. Joy will get you out of there. If you have hardship, tiyeh sameach. When a person is happy, it opens the heart. When he's happy, it opens the heart. And by doing so, not that you're going to expect you now to, go to a traffic light, get out of the car and start dancing every time you have a red light. We're not talking about that. What I'm talking about is when you are besimcha, when you are joyful, and when you have a purpose in your life, that by itself gives you the koach, gives you the force and the ability to deal with everything that comes in front of you. When you are down, you're weak. And when you're weak, you are vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you're gone, you're finished. Be besimcha. That's okay, don't worry about it, we're going to make it. It's all good. And yeh besameach, not just words. When a person is down, he doesn't want to do anything. All he wants to do is crumble under his bed and and watch a Netflix until his eyeballs are rolling in the sockets. binging. That's not the way to do it. Kum ve'aseh, get up and do stuff. On that, says the Baal Shem Tov, ve'ihiyeh, tamid besimcha, always be in a state of joy, of happiness. Ve'yachshov ve'ya'amin be'emunah shlema, and think and believe and know with a full heart, she'ashchina etzlo ve'shomeret alav. God is present and God watches you. Very simple. והוא מסתכל על הבורא יתברך שמו, and you are looking at creation and what God had done for you, והבורא יתברך שמו מסתכל בו, and he will look at you back. When you don't want to look at God, why should God take a look at you? What's going on with your life? Make it your business. So it says, והבורא יתברך שמו יכול לעשות כל מה שהוא רוצה. Then you can do whatever he wants. אם הוא רוצה, מחריב כל העולמות ברגע אחד, והקדוש ברוך הוא wants, he could destroy all the worlds in one split of a second, הוא בורא אותם ברגע אחד, and then he recreate them in 1 second, right? ובו יתברך שמו, in הקדוש ברוך הוא, מושרשים כל הטובות והדינים שיש בעולם. Everything comes from him. All the good and all the judgment comes from הקדוש ברוך הוא. שבכל דבר יש שפע וחיות, everything that הקדוש ברוך הוא in creation has abundance and livelihood that was generated from God. ואין אני בוטח ומתיירא רק ממנו יתברך שמו. I'm not afraid of anything, I'm just afraid and I have awe from God. Not afraid of anybody. I'm just afraid of God. Afraid of the things that I did, and I have awe to the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's it. Don't worry about it. I told you this before. It doesn't make a difference which evil person you're dealing with. At the end of the day, it's just another person. It's just another person. Do not be afraid. Nothing to be afraid about. Even the worst person in the world is still a person. And everything like this should be besimcha. Everything should be enjoyed. And listen, we are guaranteed to have great joys really soon, which is the simcha of redemption, the simcha of the joy of Geulah. And that's simcha that goes up and becomes greater and greater, and it doesn't become weaker, it becomes greater. But we need to understand that that's a process. The same thing as we learn in the Gemara. The same thing as when did the Geulah started in Egypt? When they brought the Korban Pesach. However, they were still in Egypt, but they were already considered to be redeemed, even though they left until in the morning. But they're already before that. So therefore, you have to understand, Geulah, redemption is the process. We need to make sure that we are involved with it. There are people that live in a state of Geulah all the time, and a person that lives and understands that, and is happy and understands that Geulah is a process, and I'm living in Geulah, is already considered to be redeemed, because he experienced Geulah. In other words, a positive person experiences positivity. A negative person experiences negativity. In other words, your emotions, your thoughts create your reality. It's very simple. And a person like this that is positive already enjoys the lights and the benefit of redemption. And some people, they get their joy from this light of the past, right? Of what used to be, and we have hope, and you also can get it also from the lights of the future, how great things will be. That will be a motivator for you also. However, we also have to do actions of Geulah also in the present. We have to do it right now. And that gives us the bridge to be able to connect between the past and the future by actually continuously being active in the present in our state right now. So don't just sit now like this and just wait for Mashiach to come and send you a ticket first class, because that's not going to happen. You want redemption, you want to be redeemed? Okay, get out. Exactly what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Am Yisrael. He said, stop crying to me. You know, walk. Get up and go. Mati tzakelai. Why are you yelling? Go, walk. We need to, when we said, one of the questions that they say when a person goes to Shamayim, did you expect redemption? Tzipita li Yeshua. Did you expect salvation? It doesn't mean to sit down and then just, okay, I'm waiting. I don't want to wait in vain for your love, right? But, so therefore the good advice is never to be stuck and only look at what is in front of you in this moment right now. And because in this moment and the whole entire world, you're never going to see the truth. You're never going to see the truth. But all the time you have to work very hard in order to see the future, that the truth will come in the future. At the end, we're going to see it all. Says Baal HaSulam in his introduction to Sefer HaZohar, the following, according Tachbula ha'achat, there's only one trick to do. Listakel besof ha'maaseh, in other words, look at the end of the action, betachlit habriya, at the purpose of creation, כי אי אפשר להבין שום דבר באמצע מלאכתו אלא מסופו. You can't understand what things are from just watching something in the middle. If you see me, for example, working on a piece of wood, you don't know what I'm going to be making with it. I could be making a table, I could be making a chair, maybe I'm making a double curved bow. You don't know what I'm making with it. Only when I'm done you could see. So you want to be able to connect yourself into something good and not to give up and not to fall apart. Look at the end. And at the end there's going to be redemption. So work yourself for that. It's a tremendous thing. Chazal told us, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. At the end of the thing is determined by the initial thought. And the initial thought of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when He created the world, is to create the world that is free and redeemed and it's good. So why are you giving up hope? Listen, to be a Jew nowadays is very terrible. We just want to be left alone. We want to do other things. Don't leave us alone. Just leave us alone. It's very bad to be a Jew today. This whole anti-Semitism that you think, it's not because of Israel. It's because it's an opportunity to become openly anti-Semites. All these anti-Semites out of the closet. I think they should go back into it. I'll call it exterminator. So, but if we see, a person would say, I don't want to be a Jew. But if a person sees the end and he knows that the end is going to be good, so therefore it's not going to give up. It's not going to be afraid. It's not to be afraid of. Guys, don't be afraid. And a person that really works towards the purpose, and he knows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good, Tov u'meitiv lechol briyotav, he is good to all his creation, and he believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He believes in Chayei Olam Haba. He believes in Chayei Netzach. Also, therefore, in this world, could feel his life in Olam Haba. Because he feels it, he sees it. I see it. There's a reason why I'm doing it. Now, just as it says in Masechet,
Parashat.
Wow! I'm impressed. Yes, Masechet Brachot. Olamcha ter'eh b'chayecha. Who are these people? Ele ba'alei madrega gvoha. These are the people who are on a high level, that purify themselves from any kind of materialistic, and they can really see with their own eyes sights of Olam Haba. They see everything spiritual. I mean, they're looking at a person, they don't just see flesh and bone, they see the neshama in a person. They can feel the place itself. These are the people on a high level. Now you can do it also. Now, and so this is all nice and dandy. But then again, there's something that really bothers all of us. And that's fear. Fear. What are we going to do against fear? Now, what are people afraid of? They're afraid of they're not going to get a job. They're afraid they're not going to get paid. They're afraid they're going to get fired. They're afraid they're not going to have a pension. People are afraid they're going to die young. Some people are afraid they're going to die old and alone. There are so many reasons to be. Fear is a tremendous thing. Fear is a tremendous thing. You should know that fear is a tremendous motivator as well. It's a catalyst. It helps you to do things. For example, it could cause tremendous things to happen, to take place. Whether it's our private life or whether it's a professional life, right? There are companies that jumped up and made such a leap just because they were afraid that the competition or the competing company is going to take the whole market share that they have. So they develop something that is so fantastic, or develop such a new avenue of revenue that That made all the difference between one and the other. That made all the difference between one and the other. I mean, numerous companies like this. So, competition does whatever it needs, whatever it does. It's competition in a way. It's good. Even military developments became civil. For the civil market, changed the whole entire world. Everything, our life changed because of that. I mean, imagine your life without Velcro. Velcro, you know what Velcro is? Velcro was created for the space, during the space race between Russia and the United States. Why? Because they wanted to secure things. How are they going to secure things in space? So they created Velcro. Microwave. Today all of you guys cannot live without microwave developed in space. I mean, so many different things were because of those things, or military advancement, and how life would be without. Imagine today you take a flight anywhere like this with jets and so on. Imagine that you still have to take prop engines to fly to, it will take you forever. Even so, military is good. Every time there is a war, by the way, invest in military companies. Later on I'll tell you, I don't want to get sponsorship from them. But, competition is good. So therefore, wars could be a tremendous catalyst for the economy or for advancements of new technology. But it's very important to recognize that regardless of that, regardless that fear could be a good catalyst or a good motivator, fear mainly paralyzes. It would paralyze you. It's threatening, and it really isn't pleasant. And it is very, very important to learn and to know how to deal or to operate with fear in a very controlled and responsible manner. Of course, not towards the people that are around us, family, friends, even workers, right? If you're always going to threaten, and even Chazal told us, Leolam lo yashlit adam eima yetera beveto. In other words, do not be a tyrant in your house. Because if you're going to be a tyrant in your house, your kids, the first chance they have, either they're going to bounce off and leave, or you're going to create a bunch of kids that suffer tremendously from, some kind of emotional PTSD. Do not be a tyrant. Don't yell. Don't threaten. Don't do all these things that people do. It's terrible what it does to people. Because if you're going so, you're simply going to immobilize their ability to grow. You're going to kill it. You're going to make them paralyzed. They're not going to be able to grow. And you as well. So if somebody made a mistake, say, I made a mistake. Okay, let's see if we can fix it. Because what will happen is, there's a story in the Gemara, but this rabbi was very, makpid. And one time there was a taifa in his house, and they were so petrified that he's going to yell and scream and carry on, so they kept quiet and they let everybody eat trifot. Okay, so accidents can happen. Things break. At the end of the day, it's only things. So if something broke, it broke. It broke. Kapara. Let it be. Let it go. So, how do we therefore create that perfect balance, or the healthy balance of using fear as something to mobilize us to do things rather to paralyze us to stop growing? So you can find this in the words of Bala Akedah on the Pasuk, where he says, Ve'ata Yisrael, ma Hashem Elokecha shoel mach. What is God asking from you? And now, Israel, what is God asking from you? Ki im liyirah et Hashem Elokecha. Liyirah. So of course the question is, why does the Pasuk, why does the Torah uses the word yirah? There is yirah and there is pachad. It's not the same thing. It should be, V'chi ma Hashem Elokecha shoel yucha mi'imach, ki im lefached, to be afraid. And the answer is no, liyirah. So as an answer, he's the Baal HaKedah is really amazing when it comes. It's so to the point. It's really amazing. He said there are two different stages that a person can tell another person something. For example, if a person comes and says to you, if you're not going to do what I'm telling you, you're going to die. Right? It's a very harsh statement, and it's a very threatening statement, but it comes from two opposite sides. And I'll show you. So let's say, for example, you had some kind of a Don Corleone, some kind of a gangster, right? That comes to you, and he's threatening you, and if you're not going to do that, you're going to die. What I'm telling you. Or to the other hand, it could be a doctor. Mm-hmm. It could be a doctor that comes and tells you the same thing. So while the gangster kind of forces the person to act against his will, the doctor calls him to want to act from common sense and free choice. According to Judaism, the spiritual work that we have and kiyum mitzvot, in other words, doing the mitzvot, really help the person and they actually refine you. And really advance, or at least should advance your personality. The mitzvot give the human being a spiritual advantage. And the purpose is that a person is going to realize that it is good for him. And by doing so, by realizing that it's good for him, by his own initiative, he would like to keep mitzvot. Not because he's going to go to hell. That's why I'm not so fond about all these lecturers. They give you lectures and say, you're not going to do that. You're going to be burned in hell. You're going to be doing this. I don't know why this is maybe good for, I don't know, Southern Baptists, somewhere, in some kind of a movie. But it's not the spirit of Judaism. But Judaism is all about free choice. So you should come with your own common sense, logically. What's the matter? You don't want to join us? No. Logically, to come in and to do what, to keep the mitzvot. And once you do so, you're not going to feel forced. You're not going to feel that somebody oppressed you. And right? That's why I keep telling you, I'm not here to create a state of religious oppression on anybody. Would I like them to keep mitzvot? Yes. Yes, for their own benefit. Am I going to force anybody? No, I cannot force anyone. There's no point of forcing anyone. So, if he's going to do so, it's going to be so much different, because if he's going to do so because of a place of clarity, I understand why I'm doing so. And I not only understand why I do so, I am choosing to do it. I'm choosing to go down from 250 pounds, 250 pounds. The doctor told me, argument's sake, right? Listen, buddy, you got to lose your weight, otherwise you're going to die. You're going to have cholesterol is 300. You got to do something about it. So a person could say, you know what? I don't want to do it. I'm going to take myself into my hands. I'm going to start watch what I eat. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start exercising, and I'm going to increase. And I don't know what. I'm going to go down to 180. Okay. You choose to do so, and you're going to do it. And why are you going to do it? Because only through this kind of process of clarity and free choice, you could create a stage or a state of true change, implementing change. And that's the whole thing. When people take those how do you call these things? Those shots that people get to lose weight, all these companies. If you're not going to follow through, if you're not going to follow through with a real understanding, and then a change of life, of change of habits, it's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's never going to happen. In order to implement change, you need to let go of old habits and immediately replace them with good habits. But only through your choice. You need to be honest. You need to be logical. Say, listen, what I'm doing is not good. It's not working. It's not working. I need to stop. I need to stop making excuses. I need to choose to do that. And that's what the Parashat says, Vaya Ekev Tishmeun. You should do it by mitzvot, with joy, because you chose to do it. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu was so thrilled with us when we said Naaseh v'nishma. We wanted to put ourselves. When we wanted to put ourselves, guess what? Now we can really implement change. We didn't come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, excuse me, what's in it? What do I get out of it? There was no such thing. You want to give us mitzvot? Give us, we'll take it. And only through that understanding, from internal recognition, and not from a forced state of fear. If I'm not going to do so, this is going to happen. If we're going to able and to understand that, we will be able to use this tip, with people that are interacting with our life. For example, our students, our children, our spouses, and even our workers that work with us and in the whole entire life. We're not going to cause them to do things because of fear that you're going to hear somebody screaming and yelling at the corridor, I'm going to fire you, and so on. And everybody is fearful and like, oh my God, what's going on there, and so on, If the boss is yelling in the corridor, everybody is all of a sudden losing color. We're not going to cause people to change like this. Or we're going to threaten you by firing you and so on and so forth. Right? You're not going to cause a change by this. This old system is so old, and by itself, because it's so old, could prove to us how ineffective that is, ruling through fear. It's absolutely ineffective. In the past, if it didn't work, they used to whip you. You guys don't remember? I spoke to my father, alav shalom. By the way, this shiur is Leilui Nishmat
Bela bat Rivka, Amnon
Bela bat Rivka ve'Amnon
ben Nekadam.
ben Nekadam. And of course, Leilui Nishmat, my father, Gedalia Moreno ben Matilda.
And Yosef Baruch.
And lehatzlacha, and the success of Refuah Shlema of Yosef ben Azaria. My father told me, if you didn't behave in school, or you got something wrong, you went like this, and with the hard part of the ruler, used to smack you on the fingers, or put you in a corner.
That's Russian method.
That Russian method doesn't work. What I mean, you come into school, what with the face in the corner? What are we, Primitivsky? The problem is the kids don't learn because you probably don't teach right. You have to excite them, and I can tell you this for a fact. I'll tell you my own personal thing. I was in high school, I was a failure. Math, physics, and English. Ha ha ha. I got my master's in English. Where's my teacher? My point grade average in math, physics, and English was 45 out of 100. My teachers were horrific. Horrific teachers. They were bad, they were nasty. They couldn't take a question, if they could answer it. They would penalize me for that. I'll tell you a story. We were learning algebra. It was 9th grade. And I said, okay, listen, I'm not getting it. Well, I got myself a tutor. And the tutor was a smart guy. He said to me, okay, you get it. Let me teach you something. And he showed me how to solve algebra equations with using logarithm. So I went to a test. I answered, and I wrote the method that I did down, and I wrote the answer, and I thought I'm going to get 100. But I got a 0. And I said, why? It's like I got all the answers. So the teacher told me, because you didn't write it the way we taught you. I said, but I got it, and I got the equation, and what difference does it make? I got the equations, I wrote how I wrote it, and they were all 100% correct. And you failed me? I said, yes, I failed you. So when I went to the Air Force Academy, I was very lucky to have very tough teachers, extremely talented and extremely caring. I didn't go below 100 average. I finished the summer in July with a point average of 45. In August, I went up to 100. Never went down from 100. No? That's the way it is. You have no idea how bad it was in school. Those methods don't work. You need to learn how to teach. You need to see a purpose in teaching, and then you become a good teacher. If you are there just to get a paycheck, you're going to be a bad teacher. The same thing if you're going to become a doctor just to get money, you're going to be a bad doctor or a bad dentist. So now, instead of that, we need to implant in the people around us the understanding, the recognition that first of all they are important and they are needed, including your children, including your wife, including your workers. And they are important and their job is important. Their duty is important. And it's needed. And to cause them to choose to do the task ahead of them through choice, through positivity, not from fear. And Rabotai, regardless of the outcome, we cannot allow to give up on anyone.
It's true.
We cannot leave anybody behind. And if you see somebody that is failing, it's not because he doesn't have the mental capacity, it's probably because he got a bad streak or something. It's our job to help a person. Whether it's a person learning Gemara, and he has difficulties, or a person that has a problem with math, or a person that has a problem with his weight, or a person has a problem with anything. We don't leave anybody behind. Because this is the greatest feeling of purpose, is when you choose to help people because they are there. And we do need all hands on deck. We need everybody in order to be fully redeemed. Kol Klal Yisrael, in order to do the job that needs to be done. We cannot give up on anyone. I don't say, and I don't encourage, and I don't want you to become evangelic Jews. I don't want you to go out to be missionary Jews. You want people to come to the light of the Torah, turn on the light. Turn on the light by smiling. Smile at people. Smile with your eyes, not with your mouth. Smile at people. Make yourself pleasant. Show them that you are positive, and they will be drawn to you. And like this, you can help them to become positive and joyful themselves. This is V'haya im Shamoa. V'haya Leshon Simcha. Shabbat Shalom. Questions?